So, hello and welcome to the interactive virtual craft fair taking place from Tuesday the 23rd to Sunday the 28th of March. Now, the interactive virtual craft fair is a wonderful mix of exhibitor live sessions, workshops, demonstrations, live chat, and the chance to buy the work direct from all of our exhibitors. And you can do this by clicking on interact.handmadeinbritain.co.uk. Now, my name is Alice and I am a part of the Handmade in Britain team. And this afternoon, I'm so pleased to be introducing Paths to Craft from the wonderful QEST. Now, I'd love to introduce you to all, but also to Deborah Pocock, the CEO of the Queen Elizabeth Scholarship Trust. So, Debbie, wonderful to join us. So, tell us a little bit more about QEST and the work that you do.
Thank you so much, Alice, and to Handmade in Britain for inviting us to this discussion. Really, really great to be here. So QEST, the Queen Elizabeth Scholarship Trust, was set up some 30 years ago to support excellence in British craftsmanship. And its mission hasn't changed since that time. We support the training and education of talented craftspeople across the UK of all ages, backgrounds, and in traditional and contemporary crafts. Since 1990, we've awarded some 5 million, and our alumni family is now some 600 strong. And we have supported a huge array of different crafts and skills throughout those past 30 years. And we continue with our mission. It's been challenging times, as we all know, but even last year we managed to support another 37 really talented craftspeople. If you want to find out more about QEST, please do go to our website. We've got an amazing directory. You can have a look at all of the really talented makers that we've supported, that really eclectic nature of craft skills. The website can tell you a little bit more how to get involved, how to support, how to become a friend of QEST. And that's a new initiative from us. So please do go to our website, and that's quest.org.uk, and QEST is QEST. It feels strange, I know, but Queen Elizabeth Scholarship Trust. So as I say, we're delighted to be with you today, and thanks so much for this platform. And I'm really looking forward to chatting with 4 of our extremely talented alumni.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Today we are joined by 4, talented makers that you have, supported. And of course, these 4 are exhibiting with us at the Interactive Virtual Craft Fair. So you're going to be asking them a series of questions about paths, into their craft, and how they've been responding and more importantly, adapting, to some of the challenges, in the last year. Over to you. Really looking forward.
Thank you, Alice. Yes, absolutely. And I will say that, every single day, I am just blown away by the resilience, the creativity, the tenacity of our makers and makers across the UK. It has been challenging, as we know, but it is absolutely heartening to really understand how people are adapting in these difficult times. So, first of all, let me introduce you to the 4 makers that we have with us this afternoon. So hopefully they're all going to give you a wave, a cheery wave. So first of all, please may I introduce you to furniture maker and 2019 QEST Carpenters Company scholar, Jack Welton. And Jack is in London. Hello, Jack. Lovely to see you. There we go. And I said, isn't that just an incredibly neat workshop? Wow, look at that. That is fantastic. Love that. And secondly, can I introduce you to ceramicist and 2017 QEST Garfield Weston Foundation apprentice, Bluebell Hill, and by the magic of Zoom, she is in Penzance in Cornwall. Hi, Blue.
Hello.
How are you? Lovely to see you. Another great studio. Boy, do I wish I was there. And thirdly, let me introduce you to Poppy Field, who is a figurative sculptor and received her 2016 QEST Finis Scott Foundation Scholarship. Hi, Poppy.
Hi.
Hi, lovely to see you, Poppy. And actually, next door, in a studio at the incredible Grandy's Place, which is a heritage crafts centre in Hertfordshire that's been set up a couple of years ago. Wonderful, wonderful hub of makers. And next door is Bryony Applegate. Hi, Bryony. Great to see you. Bryony is also a ceramicist, and she received her scholarship in 2019. Great to see you. So welcome everyone. So Jack, just turning to you first, if I may, tell us a little bit about how you got into furniture making. Really interesting pathway, I think, from the sort of informal to the formal.
Yeah, interesting is the right word. I sort of did it the wrong way around. It was a bit too interesting at times.
Yeah.
So I was self-taught. It was something I started doing in my mid-20s just for fun at the weekends.
Yeah.
With whatever tools I had lying around, some really basic tools, just a handsaw and a drill, I think. And yeah, I started making stuff for fun, and then sort of learn by doing, learn by watching YouTube tutorials, bought a few instructional books. And was lucky enough to find a big shared workshop in North London called Black Horse Workshop, where there's lots of other makers who I could learn from. Started like that, and then it was only when I got my QEST scholarship a good few years later that I had any formal training. So that funded me to do a 3-month intensive course down in Somerset, learning fine furniture design and making, with a focus on traditional hand tools like these, and sort of learned how to do it properly then.
Fantastic. And you've sort of been really focusing on hand tools, which is a big part of the scholarship training, and something that you're really focusing on moving forward, and thinking also about not just the tools but the materials and the sort of sustainable element of the materials that you're using. Yeah,
exactly. So everything that I've made that's for sale on Handmade in Britain was made from trees that were actually London street trees that are being felled for roadworks, or for some of them for HS2. Some of them are just old and having to come down. Ordinarily they'd be chipped on site because it's quite expensive to maneuver these big trees around. They'd be chipped on site and then used as biofuel, which seemed like a bit of a shame. So I and some other makers have been buying wood from a timber merchant who's inserted himself into that sort of chain. Has taken these beautiful London trees and milling them into usable furniture grade boards. So everything I have for sale is made from one of those trees, and everything is, all of the joinery is hand cut, so hand saws and chisels and planes and all that good stuff.
Great, that's fantastic to hear. So your journey is really evolving, and just I live in London myself, so I'm really delighted to hear that some of our trees are being put to good use. And congratulations on your Instagram as well. I know that you've been really developing your Instagram, and I've been following with great interest. So I urge everyone else to do so. Thanks, Jack. Blue, over to you. You've had a completely different journey. You're a QEST apprentice, so you're sort of very much at the beginning of your career, but it was quite a fortuitous meeting with ceramicist Richard Feffion that's really, you know, started you on your journey.
Yeah, so it really was a story of luck, because Richard moved in next door to me when I was 15 or 16, and it just so happened that he was talking to my dad, just a neighbourly conversation, and he mentioned that he was looking for somebody local to train, and my dad kind of volunteered me for that.
As dads do.
Yeah, so the week after, I ended up coming to the pottery and learned a few things and started just sort of coming to the classes and volunteering, helping out, and then helping to look after the studio and get it prepared for classes. And basically Richard couldn't get rid of me, so we decided to apply for QEST funding.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years, just studying and developing my skills and making mostly throne work, so tableware and yeah, a small amount of hand building, but it's all slipware, so earthenware clay, so terracotta, red clay. And yeah, so that's my kind of how I started.
Yeah, amazing. And your apprenticeship, you know, I can't believe, because I remember you coming to the interview at our offices in London, and I remember you coming up on the train that very morning and coming to our offices. And so your apprenticeship is coming to an end. I mean, what are the sort of high spots of that apprenticeship for you, and where do you know, has that set you in good stead for the future?
Well, really, the thing that I've found best about having this apprenticeship is it's given me an opportunity to just study and practice and not have the pressure of, you know, having to basically make money, and it just gives you that opportunity to focus on developing your sort of personal brand of how you want to make your work. And some high spots, I would say, we went to a couple of years ago, we went and taught a course in Italy at La Meridiana. And that was an incredible experience. It was my first time out of the country. So it was very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just been a great thing. I think that potters in general are all really nice people, I've kind of noticed. So you get to meet quite a lot of incredible, interesting makers. And also with the events that we've been to Earth and Fire, which is a ceramics festival. Yeah. And again, that was incredible because there's so many different ways of making it. No two potters are the same, really. It's really amazing that it's such a versatile material that it's all just so different. And being in the craft world in general, you get to meet so many incredibly interesting people and
absolutely
unimaginable stuff.
Absolutely. Thanks Blue. We can pick up on some of that when we talk a bit later. Bryony, you're also a ceramicist, but very different path to Blue, and quite a different focus. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that from your journey from the RCA to where you are now?
Yeah, so I basically had a massive love for ceramics and a massive love for food. What better way to combine them than to create really exciting tableware for really amazing dishes? Yeah. And QEST, I went to QEST, and my interview was basically telling them about my dream, which is to make really amazing plates for really amazing chefs. And that's basically where it's got me now. So the QEST funded my last year at university doing my master's at the Royal College of Art.
Yes.
Which allowed me to not need to work because the year before I had to work pretty much full time to pay for my fees. It allowed me to just completely focus and throw myself completely into making and developing and working on my business side of things more than anything, because that's what I was like severely lacking. I just like making, and that was about it. I'm now working with a couple of Michelin star chefs, making some amazing tableware that's bespoke to them, which is exciting for me as well, because I can work through experimentation and develop different ideas. And then once I've done that idea, move on to another idea and just keep working and having fun and playing with it. And then, of course, I have to make sure I go and test out the plates. So.
Yeah, and eat food. Well, that's amazing, and it's so fantastic that you've achieved your dream of working with some Michelin star chefs. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. And I think that you're sort of using Handmade in Britain to showcase some of your sort of sculptural work as well as tableware. So you're sort of, evolving your practice, whilst doing that.
Working through experimentation and things, kind of, it leads you into so many different areas.
Yes.
And there's only so much that you can do for a plate. You can't make like these sculptural pieces because food will fall through them and things like that. But I like pushing the material as much as possible. So for these piped pieces, I've had to create a slip that's still thick enough to be able to pipe, but not too thin. And it's just pushing the material as much as I can and see kind of where it leads me. And the more mistakes you make, the more you learn, the more you just kind of think, oh, actually, I'll do that instead. And then, they're all they're one-off pieces, because once I've done that, I want to move on to the next thing and discover as much as possible.
Yeah. Amazing. And I've been to Grandy's place, and I've seen both Poppy's studio and Bryony's studio, and absolutely fascinating. And I've seen you developing your slipware. So thanks, Bryony. We'll come back and talk a little bit further. But Poppy, why figurative sculpture? What drew you to that particular craft?
I began studying the history of art when I entered the sixth form, and at that time I had the opportunity to try sculpture as part of the course, and these two worlds colliding changed everything for me. But being young, you feel a tremendous pressure to choose a path, especially when everyone's off to university, and it felt like there was a war between these two worlds. But then when I was in my undergraduate course, I began a topic called Monuments and Memory with Professor Christine Stevenson at the Courtauld, and we were looking at how monuments can imbue memory. And I just thought, that's so cool. What an amazing thing it would be to actually go and sculpt something, and for that to have a place in the public realm, to mean something to people, not just to me. And QEST was just there when I needed them, and allowed me to go off to Florence and funded 1 year of a 3-year training at the Florence Academy of Art, where I was able to continue lecturing history of art to the students whilst gaining all of these technical skills and putting me exactly where I dreamt of being.
Fantastic. And you came back to the UK and set up your workshop at Grandy's place, and so far so good. Is it going well as you expected?
Well, I only was able to set up my workshop because you at QEST held this incredible auction at the V&A and auctioned off one of my sculptures, which was the most brilliant investment into setting up the studio. So yes, things have been going very well. Thank you.
Good. Excellent. So thanks so much, everyone, for just sort of, giving us a brief glimpse into your path into crafts. And as our audience can see, it's hugely varied. But it has been a challenging year. We know that, for makers and for everyone. But you're still here. You're still making. You're evolving. So let's perhaps talk a little bit about some of the ways you've been working, evolving, promoting and selling through the pandemic in a positive way. So Jack, you usually work to commission, I think, and how do you find clients, and how has this perhaps changed over the course of the past year?
So that's right. The vast majority of the work I've done has been to commission over the years. Work comes from all all kinds of directions, really. The workshop that I'm a part of, that I briefly mentioned, they have a cafe, and they're a bit of a sort of, they're well known in the local community in North London. Excuse me 1 second. Oh, sorry.
Live Zoom, everyone.
Edit that out. So some people come to the workshop knowing that there are furniture makers here, and they find me that way. Have some repeat business, and some business comes through Instagram. During lockdown, I've been lucky enough to have quite steady work. Most of it has come from one relationship I had with a furniture designer who was giving me multiple projects, one after another, throughout lockdown, which was a huge relief, actually, to have work and be able to pay the rent. And then more recently, literally in the last few months, on the run up to this fair, I've put aside a good amount of time to work on some speculative pieces, which are the ones I have for sale at the fair, and that's been really great. So it had a sort of natural gap in my commission work, and it's been a good opportunity to really focus on the traditional hand tools, whilst there's not much else going on in the world.
Fantastic. I mean, that just shows the power of platforms like Handmade in Britain, how they're supporting makers. And I was chatting with Alice yesterday. Handmade in Britain, were sort of doing the virtual side before lockdown. So, and I think having that sort of dual that interactive element, and then I know they're planning some live events later in the year. It is really fantastic platform and opportunity. Blue, you're down in Cornwall. So how have you managed to sort of sell your work, and have you thought about building your online presence? How have you juggled that? Because I know fairs were a really important part of your practice and output.
Yeah, so I do find it difficult because my work in general, I feel like it needs to be held. So that's why I like going to fairs, because once somebody picks something up, you kind of think, well, they're probably going to buy it because they're touching it and they're feeling it. So it's so online is a bit tricky for me, but I have taken the lockdowns as a bit of an opportunity to have a bit more presence online, because I was there, but I wasn't keeping it regularly updated, which I think is necessary to let people know that you're actually there.
True.
And so I've took that opportunity to develop my website a little bit, and Etsy, and doing things like these online markets. But throughout most of last year, I was quite ill, and because I'm in Cornwall, around Christmas time, on the run up to Christmas time, we were obviously in the tiered phase.
I
was very lucky to be able to make it to a couple of markets on the Royal Cornwall Showgrounds. So that was really, really helpful, because I hadn't sold much that year because of being ill and not being able to make and not being able to really get work done. So that was a really, really good pick me up. And then more recently, I've been selling more online and getting a few commissions here and there. So
good. Well, that's great to hear. I mean, I think moving forward, I think the virtual world is with us. And it's really sort of finding the right balance, isn't it? But you're right, that sort of emotional engagement with craft is so important. And I think, I can see Poppy nodding, saying, that is so crucial. Bryony, what about you? How have you sort of managed in terms of selling, and what are the sort of challenges that you've faced?
So the beginning of lockdown, I was finishing uni still, so I was the COVID year of uni. This time last year, we were kind of kicked out and everything had to be online. Which kind of, I'm speaking for myself, but probably a few others, drove us round the bend, because we were makers and we made all of these lectures and things online and finished our course online. So I had a bit of a break, I'd say, from selling online and things like that. I've been doing a lot of Instagram things and trying to do some videos and things like that, but I've taken stuff off of my shop online and I focused more on developing who I am and what I do. So I took the opportunity to just calm down, relax, and just use the time that I've been given to create different varieties of pieces of tableware and explore more sculptural pieces, and kind of give my brain space to breathe and figure out where I want to go and how to be more professional about it, really. So it was forced on me, but also has helped me out a lot, because for the last couple of weeks I've got commissions coming in, the restaurants are opening up again, so everybody's just a lot more excited, and new stuff is happening. So it's kind of like a new start that's coming, and it's exciting. And so I've just it has been hard, like it has been hard for a lot of people, but I've just tried to focus on my practice, what I want to be, where I want to be, and like keep going, basically.
Absolutely. I think that's really wise. And I know, QEST, we have been doing some masterclasses for our alumni, and just really urging people to think about what they want to project, their brand, their story. You all have amazing stories, makers have amazing stories, and working out how to tell that story across the multitude of platforms that we have is a challenge. But I think you're really wise to step back, take a step back, look at it objectively. We all get caught up, don't we, in the sort of the day to day, but it's obviously really stood you in good stead. Poppy, what about you? I mean, not really used to selling online, I think, and very much focused on other things. So, but a little bit more success, I think.
Yes, as Blue was saying, people really want to hold an object, and especially if it's cast in bronze, to feel the weight of it. So at the start of lockdown, when the foundry I work with down in Gloucestershire closed, I had an absolute panic, because the heads I was waiting on were in a show up in London and I couldn't get them there. So I was quite lucky that show then went online and has seemed to set off many shows, and has allowed me to exhibit in Scotland even a couple of times without getting on a train. So that's been quite nice. One interesting thing about exhibiting online has been, when someone buys a bronze sculpture or commissions a new cast, it's a couple of month process through the foundry. So keeping patrons in touch with pictures of, here's the wax, here's the royal bronze, come on Zoom and watch the patination, has been quite bizarre, but I think it's allowed people to experience another world, even though they're locked down. So it's been, there have been positive things about that too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I suppose that leads us on quite nicely, actually, to people's, I think, everyone sort of is talking about craft. Craft is everywhere. I mean, if we look at the TV, the media, if we look at popular shows like The Repair Shop, and Jay Blades is a QEST ambassador indeed. But, people are having a go. People seem to want to engage more with craft and craftsmanship. And I suppose that sort of brings us on to sort of teaching. And teaching, of course, whether you're having a go or whether you're, training the next generation of craftspeople. And of course, we have to build that talent pipeline. We must sustain these fabulous skills. And I think, all of you are sort of involved in teaching in one way or another. Bryony, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing.
So I have, when I moved into Grandy's, that was kind of like Christmas came early for me, because it's just around the corner from where I live. Then Birch Community opened in Cheshunt, which is just down the A10. They are basically a hotel that want to be, they they offer like art classes. They have an open air swimming pool. They have their own restaurants. It's kind of a nice getaway that they've utilised, this kind of not being able to go out the country. They've put that on. So I am the technician and also teach alongside a few other teachers, teaching ceramics, and it's basically a great way for people that are usually quite corporate based businessmen, men and women, come into Birch. You put a lump of clay in front of them and they go, oh, what shall I make? And I say, it's completely up to you. And they get quite annoyed at the time. So they go, I can't do it. They are so impressed with what they've made. They're so calm in what they've made. And the amount of people I've seen come through, and I've watched them relax their brains and just completely forget about the world, forget that they've touched their phone. At the end of the 3 hours, they say, I haven't looked at my phone in 3 hours. And they're like manically trying to catch up with emails. And I'm like, but that was a good 3 hours of just nothingness and just relaxing. And you don't have to be making anything you need to make. It's purely just to open your own mind and just, see what you want to do. And I have really missed that because it's a hotel. It's been closed through the main lockdowns. But it's watching people kind of just relax and open up and just see that there's other possibilities that aren't on a computer screen. Even though we're in lockdown now, it's kind of teaching has been really good, like for me to interact and see that change in people as well.
Absolutely. And of course, there's a lot of talk about well-being and making, and what a positive experience and influence that is. So hopefully that will continue for you once we're fingers crossed. Exactly. Poppy, what about you in terms of sort of teaching workshops? You've been doing online workshops, haven't you?
In-person workshops here when we were in the correct tier, and advertised them really as bubble bookings. So it was just a great load of hand sanitizer and masks, really. But it was quite interesting because it meant that the groups were very intimate, because with a group of 6 people inside, by the time I and the model have been counted, there can't be more than 4 students. And really, if they could be from their own bubble, that's even better. So I have had some lovely things, like a group of women who all met up on one of their 60th birthdays, I think.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
And they did. And although they were socially distant and like desperate to reach out and poke each other's work, they brought such joy into the studio. And it was lovely to be a part of that and to give them an entire day of observation from life and touching clay and being creative. So even though they're not longer courses as I would normally hope to do, a day can be good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack, is it on your sort of agenda in the future to do some teaching? Obviously, you know the benefits firsthand of the importance of formal training in order, taking you to the next stage of your career. Is that something that you're thinking about?
It's something that I would like to do at some point. It's not on my immediate horizon. But the workshop I'm at, they run courses, so that could be something I do, and it's given me a lot of joy and satisfaction. So it would be good to pass that on.
Good, absolutely. And Blue, I mean, I know that Richard's studio runs lots of workshops and open days, and is that something that you're going to be involved in now that you've completed your training and you'll be passing your own skills on?
Yeah, exactly. We run week courses throughout the year, and we also have a regular class, and I'm always there for those classes and will help out, because it's quite a big studio, so we have a group of students in, and sometimes Richard just needs somebody there, so that if somebody puts their hand up and they need something, there's somebody else to go, I can help with this if it's not something super complicated. And I definitely miss that, having the students around.
Interaction.
Because I mean, we have regular classes, you get to know people as well, and having students around, they think about things differently. It's interesting to see things from another person's perspective, because you can show them how to do something and then they'll use it in a way that you just completely didn't think of, and had no idea it could be done like that. And also occasionally a student will say, oh, can you make this? Do you know how to make this?
Yeah.
And I think the nature of ceramics is problem solving. So a lot of the time I'll say, I have no idea how to make it, but I'll figure it out and we'll do it together.
Yeah. Everyone's nodding. Brian is nodding. Absolutely. It's yeah. Fantastic. Well, sadly, I can't believe where these 40 minutes have gone, and we could just chat on forever, couldn't we? I mean, yeah. So I suppose to sort of sum up, you know, a last sentence from you all. You know, what does the future hold? What do you want to achieve? You know, coming out of lockdown and thinking about the future. Poppy, quite a difficult question, isn't it? But I'm sure you've given it some thought. If you could sum up in one sentence.
Well, something monumental might be nice, but in the meantime, I think I'll just go and see my mum.
Oh, sweet. Oh, that's so lovely. Yeah, I think we're all missing our parents, aren't we? That's lovely. Bryony, what about you? What?
I'm looking forward to the interaction again.
Yeah.
Grandy's has never actually opened to the public yet because it opened in lockdown. I moved in lockdown. So having new people coming and seeing this place would be amazing. Teaching, absolutely. And I just wanted to say about on the teaching side of things, QEST gave me and Chloe Monks the opportunity to go and teach in St Paul's.
Yes.
And last year, and that was a real eye-opener as well, because you could see kids' brains working and things. So maybe going into that a bit more as well as doing my own thing. It's nice to have different things going on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that sort of education piece is interesting, isn't it? And gosh, that's a whole another subject. But, you know, actually opening young people's eyes to the world of craft and craftsmanship and saying, do you know, it is possible to have a career in craft, and I think that's really important.
Therapy as well. The therapy of, like, one of the kids that was trying to kick off was throwing clay, and we were like, well, we're telling you to do that, so do it.
Exactly. Many different merits. Jack, a final word from you, and Blue, and then there's just a couple of questions that I'm just going to answer in the chat, and then I will say thank you and farewell. So Jack, Blue.
Yeah, I've been very happy the last few months in my little studio away with my chisels and saws. So I hope to keep doing this for as long as possible.
Great, well, absolutely, thank you. And Blue?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting back out there and being able to go to markets again. And I've got my first kiln going to be coming, so it's sort of a little bit of more independence going forward.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very exciting. Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Really appreciated it. Thoroughly enjoyed the chat. Thank you for the insight. Thank you for being amazing QEST scholars, part of our alumni family. So Jean White is just asking a question. If you would like funding for a residency, do you have to secure the residency first? Jean, we don't actually fund residencies. We support training of all types, whether it's one-to-one, whether it's short courses, longer courses. You do have to specify what the training is before you apply, and that's what you apply for. But please do get in contact directly, and we can perhaps help you a little bit more. Alexander Simpson, Poppy, are you doing any more workshops? How do we find out the details? Well, hopefully Poppy's details are on the chat, and we can send that to you. So thank you so much, everyone. Alice and Handmade in Britain, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you everyone for joining us. And I wish you all well. Take care and keep safe. Thank you, Poppy, Bryony, Jack and Blue.